105.5 FM, Big Dog Country, WIFO FM in Jesup. It is now time for the world-famous Butch and Bob Show, brought to you by First Southern Bank, Van's Barbecue, Murphy Builder Supply, and O'Quinn & Associates.
Hi, I'm Mandy Yeomans.
And I'm Raymond Brown with First Southern Bank. As your locally owned community bank, we're here to help our community grow. Our customers are why we are here. You can tell we want your business.
We offer all types of deposit products, personal and business. We have fast, efficient service, and yes, we have online banking too. I'm sure we have an account to fit your needs. Stop by or call us at 912-588-1010 and see how First Southern Bank can help you.
We're FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
When it comes to barbecue, Van's Barbecue in Jesup is the place to be. A small family-owned business located at 1876 on the Savannah Highway. Van's Barbecue has lunch and dinner specials. Stop by or call to make an order. The number to call, 427-3358. Van's Barbecue's new manager is Sarah Van. Van's Barbecue offers potato salad, coleslaw, baked beans, and don't forget their delicious mac and cheese. Also, check out their shrimp plates, the best in town. Yes, when it comes to the barbecue, head to Van's Barbecue, locally owned and operated. Stop by and tell them the Big Dog sent you. Once again, the number to order, 427-3358.
Since 1946, Murphy's Builder Supply has been serving the folks of Jesup, Wayne, and surrounding counties with quality products and knowledgeable service. Matter of fact, they feel they sell service first to make sure you get exactly what you need for your home improvement projects. And with each employee at Murphy's being there for 10 years or more, you know you're talking with someone with the experience to help you with building supplies, tools, paint, and all the things you need from a full-service hardware store. The best choice in home improvement is Murphy's Builder Supply, 156 Northeast Broad Street, Jesup.
Are you looking for an insurance company that you can call and talk to a live person? Are you looking for an insurance company where you can walk in and talk to an agent? Are you looking for an insurance company that offers multiple companies so they can try and get you the best rate? If you said yes to any of these, then you need to call or come by O'Quinn & Associates Insurance Financial Services. We offer multiple companies so we can find the best fit for you. Give us a call at 385-1000 or stop by our office at 212 South First Street right here in Jesup.
The following is an exclusive presentation of Jesup Broadcasting, the sports leader in Southeast Georgia.
World famous. The world famous Butch and Bob Show.
All right, world-famous Butch and Bob Show right here on WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio. Here we are on this Monday morning, the 5th day of December. And Bob on the phone with us live from Washington, D.C. is nationally known Star Parker. Bob, take it away.
Okay, Ms. Parker, appreciate you being on the show. I know you're all here to talk about Herschel's campaign, so we'll just turn it over to you.
Well, not necessarily to talk about Herschel's campaign. What we're interested in here in Washington, D.C. are people that really understand that big government is not a solution to alleviate poverty. When you start getting into the heart of what people are concerned about, whether it's excessive taxation, whether it's big government, whether it's open border, whether it's inflation, the ideas of the right to limit the role of government and promote freedom are what's going to help even the weakest link. Look, from my perspective, working here in Washington, the last thing we need is for Georgia to resend a progressive who believes in nothing but big debt and big death when he wants to promote abortion. I lived a very aggressive life before coming here to run a policy institute that works on reducing poverty with faith-based and market-based solutions. I lived a life of all the lies we're hearing from the other campaign, from the Warnock who you sent up here's campaign, that our problems are somebody else's fault, that America's so racist we don't have to mainstream, that poor people are poor because wealthy people are wealthy. And when that messaging continues, and through politicians here in Washington, D.C., people get very lost. I was one of those people, got lost in all types of misbehaviors, from criminal activity and drug activity, sexual activity, in and out of abortion clinic after clinic, and in and out of welfare dependency. It wasn't until a Christian conversion that I was able to change my life. The last thing we need as a society, and for representation out of Georgia, is a progressive that promotes those ideas that have destroyed too many people's lives already.
Now, Star, tell us a little bit about your history. I mean, this is the first time that you've been on the Butch and Bob Show. This is Star Parker. She's calling in from Washington, D.C. She's involved in national politics and the national issues. Tell us a little about the history of Star Parker. Okay, Star?
Well, when I wrote my first book, Pimps, Whores, and Welfare Brats, it was endorsed by Rush Limbaugh. I did leave a lot of details out because I wasn't sure about statutes of limitations, and I didn't want to end up in jail after, committing my life to Christ and really restarting. But at core, at heart, is what your politician, your current sitting senator who needs to be replaced, brings to Washington and brings to public discussion are ideas that don't work. And I am a living witness that these ideas don't work for people who are trying to recover their lives, perhaps get out of poverty. The success sequence is sure. It's sound. If you really want to break out of poverty, you finish school, you take any job, you get married before producing children, you save and invest some money, and then you give back to your local community. That's it. So all of this mismanagement of other people's tax dollars to try to alleviate something that's built in a lie. Progressivism is a lie. I've not just written that book about it. I've written several books about it. My second book, Uncle Sam's Plantation. Uncle Sam's Plantation talks about how the welfare state has destroyed many a people, many a community, and we can't keep going that direction. And that's one of the reasons that I so appreciate you allowing me to talk to people in your audience to get out and vote. They must vote against this expansion of government and what these progressives are bringing to pass here in Washington, D.C.
Do you feel that we are in a country that's getting more and more that people are victims instead of in control of their own lives?
When you have 60% of Americans getting more from government than they put in, we've all crossed over, which was my third book, White Ghetto, with the behaviors that we thought were confined only to those areas that where President Johnson, when he declared that stupid war on poverty, began to tell people that here are the rules. Don't work, don't save, don't get married, and we'll keep you enslaved to a poverty plantation. That is what we have bought into as American people now. And during that time of the 60s, when he started testing these ideas on the black community, we had 68% of black husbands in their homes with their wives raising children. Today it is exactly reversed. Marriage has collapsed in the black community 30%, and that's where people then look to government to solve their problems. But it's not just in the black community. This has spilled out into all communities. During those 60s, 20% of Americans got more from government than they put in. Today, 60% of Americans get more from government than they put in. We won't be able to sustain ourselves as a nation when everything is just big government. We can go all around the world and see what happens. We can look at Cuba. We can look at Venezuela. But we can also look at any and every one of our broken zip codes in this country. We have 8,700 broken zip codes in this country. And those ideas are what are keeping those zip codes broken. And that's the reason that you've got to send up somebody from Georgia that understands the principles of America, that understands traditional truths, whether they work in their own personal life or not. Truth is truth. You understands a limited role of government, understands open and free markets, and understands the pluribus unit. This idea that we got to keep breaking ourselves down on some DEI philosophy that we should turn against our neighbor on a regular basis so that some progressives can promote some stupid ideas that they have about environmental policy and or the list is long is unacceptable in a free society, and Georgia can help us reverse these trends and get ourselves back to the founding principles.
Do you talk on the issues of crime in this country and why it's so prevalent in certain cities and not others?
We've done this many a times, and frankly, my organization, CurePolicy.org, did a report when Senator Tim Scott was attempting to get police reform done here in Washington. And in fact, that's one of the issues that shows you how unserious these Democrats really are, and including that Warnock. Because when you think about crime in our neighborhoods, where we see the most aggressive crime is where we see politicians that don't take it seriously, and where we see them in bed with unions. When we start thinking about what will really work for people to be able to live in safe and free communities is freedom. The idea of freedom itself, meaning that we have a rule of law and everyone is to abide by it. And that's not what we're finding in most of our hard-hit communities around the country. Those progressive zip codes are witness to what we should not be doing. But yes, crime is a major, major challenge. But it's not confined now just to the inner cities. What we're seeing now in rural communities is a lawlessness. And much of that lawlessness, I have to be frank with you, is attached to abortion. You have now a senator who's a so-called pastor of a church going out there saying abortion is the most major issue for him. When you start thinking about shedding the blood of the innocent, how in the world would we have people respect their neighbor if we destroy the most vulnerable. We have to have that discussion. The Dobbs decision was correct for the country so that we can have a discussion about who we want to be as a people. Are we going to be biblical and free, or are we going to be secular and statist with these progressives deciding what we do, where we do it, how much we pay for it, and you have no self-governing decisions of your own? This is very, very serious business that the country is making a decision about, and it has boiled down to Georgia. And Georgia, I tell you, has always been like a red state. It's been the state that says, here's how we live. Here's the truth of the matter. Has it had problems in the past? Of course it has. But let's really get down to the heart of what this country is all about, what our founding principles are all about, and that means that you got to vote red. You want a limited role of government.
Star Parker, our guest this morning on the world-famous Butch and Bob Show. And tomorrow is the runoff election day. We've had early voting. Great turnout here in the state of Georgia for early voting. And then the election day tomorrow. I know that you represent a conservative group there in the Washington, D.C. area. Star Parker. Star, tell us the choices that people have tomorrow if they haven't voted already when they go into the ballot to vote for the current Senator Warnock or the Herschel Walker. What's the differences people should take a look at?
Look beyond the politician and look at the principles. And this is very, very, very critical for the future of our country. We are either going to be biblical and free. We're going to have a root in self-governing. That's what Christianity and biblical worldview that our founders knew was very, very important. You can't have morality without religion. You can't pick and choose what kind of moral state of being you want to be as in the civil society. So we're going to be either biblical and free people, where we're going to make decisions again at our kitchen table, whether those decisions hurt us or help us. We're going to make them at that kitchen table, and or we're going to be totally secular and totally statist, meaning that anyone gets to do anything they want, anytime they want to do it, and then the taxpayer is going to pick up the bill. This is unacceptable in our country. It's never been the moral of our country, and this is what's at stake right now. If anything that Joe Biden has said that's coherent, he has told us over and over again that these elections these days are about the soul of America, and now it's time for us to choose.
Stars, are any other issues that you want to touch on this morning before we wrap up our talk this morning?
Well, as you can tell, we're involved in most of the issues here in Washington, D.C. to try to stop this progressive left that has taken over the country. We had a few really good years of getting into the core of reversing the trends, the negative trends in our country, back toward our founding principles. But since these progressives have come to town in the last 2 years, everything has been reversed. Everything is on the table to destroy this country, from education policy to housing policy to economic policy, just to life itself. So, yes, this is so critical, and it's one of the reasons that I felt to weigh in. Normally, I don't weigh in on other people's state business. You guys send them, we work with them. But this one is too critical because the left has made it clear what they want to do, and what they want to do is destroy the founding principles of our country.
Star, if people want to find out more about you, Star Parker, and the organization that you're involved with and the issues that y'all work on a daily basis, what website or social page should they go to?
Oh, I appreciate that. We're curepolicy.org.
Cure Policy?
Curepolicy.org. But if they look up Star Parker, you'll find me. I'm a syndicated columnist. I'm all through your state and all different types of places there. And we're 501c3, so individuals help us. Do little private foundations, but individuals help us. We believe that charity belongs to the church and local communities. It doesn't belong here in Washington, D.C. And after $22 trillion in those left-wing war on poverty, the last thing we need is one more progressive to come up here from the state of Georgia to continue what we've done over the last 60 years in this so-called war on poverty. So it's curepolicy.org, and I appreciate anyone that would be helping us.
Well, Star, it's been a pleasure talking with you this morning, and as we were talking before we went on the air, we look forward to having you on many times in the future.
I would look so forward to that. It's very important that we get messages of freedom out into the local communities so that people will realize that the role of government is to protect our interests, not to plunder us, not to promote their little pet projects. It is just to protect the interests of the American people so we can all live free, we can all live wholesome, and we can just kind of praise the Lord.
Okay, Star, you have a good day. We look forward to hearing from you again.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, bye-bye. All right, Star Parker. You can check her out online at her website. Just put in your search bar there, Star Parker, and you can learn all about her and the issues that she deals and her organization deals with on a daily basis. WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio, world famous Butch and Bob show here on WIFO for this Monday morning, the 5th day of December. Well, Bob, what do you think about Georgia taking on Ohio State in the very first, playoff game there?
Should be a good game. I'm just surprised Ohio State got in after they got walloped by Michigan. So I don't know why they got in, but whatever.
Who do you think we should have been in their place?
I have no idea. Tennessee, Alabama. Somebody.
I guess because they were ranked basically in the top 4 all season long, and they had that one big loss. TCU loss, but they're still in there because, do you punish a team because they lose a championship when the teams who don't play those games are able to get in? I know that Georgia got in last year and we didn't win the SEC.
I'm just glad they're expanding the process in a couple of years to 12. And
are you?
Alleviate all this mess. But I said it was just chaos again. TCU got beat. USC got walloped Friday night, so you knew they were out. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know who you'd put in there other than Ohio
I just thought
State.
It was funny. You're not supposed to. These coaches aren't supposed to be talking about gambling. Nick Saban's out there saying, well, if Vegas had us in there, we'd be favored over Ohio State. We'd be favored over Michigan. I mean, he kind of got.
He used everything in the world to try to give us that committee. He
got desperate over the weekend.
He
that was
did,
kind of fun.
And it was interesting watching some of his interviews there on why Alabama should get in with their 2 losses, which they only lost by 3 points or less in each of those 2 games.
I still think just looking at it realistically, Alabama's probably one of the better 4 teams in the country. You got Bryce Young, Will Anderson. I said they lost on a field goal that they should have made against Tennessee. I mean, they just barely missed a field goal. They get that, and then they were talking. It was funny yesterday talking about all the teams that just got to be kicking themselves, and USC's kicking themselves. All they have to do is win a game. They can't get in. Clemson, if they don't get destroyed by South Carolina, they're probably in.
Right.
Alabama, if they don't flub up a couple times, they're probably in. So Ohio State got in by default, but they're a good football team, and it'll be a good ball game.
It will be a very good ball game. There'll be a lot of red there in Mercedes-Benz on December 31st.
They got some of their athletes that have been injured through the course of the year back. Let's see. That's the thing about it now. You got almost 28, 30 days before the game's being played, so chance to rest up and get everybody healthy for the game. So it should be fun. But, the committee can, they didn't want the rematch of Ohio State, Michigan, That was a big question. Where were they going to put Ohio State? Were they going to put them at 3 since TCU lost? And they said, oh, no, they don't want to avoid. And Chris Fowler was asking them on TV.
Well, they were going to put Ohio State as 3.
They asked if that discussion ever came up. They said it wasn't ever mentioned. That's a bunch of, who are they trying to kid? They knew they weren't going to put Ohio State and Michigan
and
together.
You put TCU. TCU deserved to still be number 3
right.
there.
Well, they deserve to be in, but why they deserve to be number 3? Why aren't they the 4?
I guess because they went undefeated
because they didn't want
because they
because they didn't want the rematch of Michigan Ohio State. Don't lie. Just tell the truth.
No, I really think the TCU should have still been number 3, and Ohio State was on the bubble. Should be Ohio State. Should it be Alabama? Should it be someone else? TCU, were they going to be punished because they played a championship game where Ohio State did not have to? I think the if there was not whether it was going to be Georgia, Michigan, TCU, whether it was going to be Ohio State, was it going to be Alabama, who was going to slip into that 4th position? It still could beat Michigan and Ohio State, but Georgia, if they continue to play like they did against most of the game against LSU, they should be able to put a beat down like Michigan did on Ohio State.
Tennessee's got a healthy Herndon Hooker. Who's to say they're not the best? One of the top 4 teams. So
who knows? Who is going to slip into that 4th position? End up being Ohio State. They were ranked in the top 4 most all season long, for long as I know they have been, and they just got beat that one game. And kind of like Georgia last year, we got beat in the SEC championship game, and that wasn't held against us, and we got in and ended up winning the national championship. So who was going to slip into that 4th position? They decided Ohio State was the one, based on the strength of schedule and many other things.
It doesn't matter. Georgia's going to beat whoever they play. So
yeah, you got to beat them all, so it doesn't matter who you play.
Another big win for the Dogs. Another team that came out focused, ready to play. disappointed they gave up 30 points, but like I said, the game was over at halftime. I mean, that game was over
you
at
just
halftime.
got to slack up a little bit, and you had the game. You had the game in hand.
I'm surprised at least you came out for the second half. That bad they gave you the first half. So. That game was over. Called my sister at halftime and said, "Man, you might as well go home."
I was in in downtown Jesup for the Christmas parade, beginning I guess around 5:30 or so. I was in the main part of downtown getting the equipment set up to go on the air between 6 and 7 to talk about the parade, and then we had the parade live right here on 105.5 FM, and there was a bunch of folks there in the Chop House right there next to the Strand Theater and the Strand Bistro. A bunch of Georgia fans, and I mean there was a ton of them, and you could tell when Georgia did good because you're standing out there on Cherry Street, then suddenly you hear all this yelling and screaming, and so you knew that Georgia was doing good, and Georgia did very, very well, and number one going into the tournament. Yep. And they'll play on New Year's Eve. Now, why are they playing on New Year's Eve? I guess they figured that's the night they'll get the most viewers because everybody's home or something, or
it's just
not working.
It's the way the schedule's set up.
Yeah, so you'll have the Michigan TCU game first, and then you'll have the Georgia Ohio State game from Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta. So it'll be like a home game for Georgia in a sense because we're used to playing there.
It's a hard place for people to play, so they say it's a wild environment. So
and it's just like
a lot of red, though. That's for sure.
It's just like when Georgia played Notre Dame and won the national championship. We'd played in the Superdome there a few times where Notre Dame hadn't, and it helped. It helped, and so I think hopefully that it will help here as Georgia takes on Ohio State on New Year's Eve night, and so go Dogs, go Georgia. And you mentioned that Georgia Southern has found them a bowl to go to, right?
They're going to Camellia Bowl.
Camellia Bowl. They're in Alabama somewhere, right?
I think it's Montgomery, Alabama.
Montgomery, the Camellia Bowl. They're taking on Buffalo. Is that correct?
Buffalo.
All right, so go Eagles in your bowl game. That'll be coming up in a couple of weeks or so, I guess. I'm not sure what the date on that is. And so go Eagles.
The Gator Bowl's got a nice matchup, South Carolina, Notre Dame down there in Jacksonville. So that'll be a fun ball game.
All right. And Alabama, where are they going?
They're going to the Sugar Bowl.
Sugar Bowl.
But none of their players are going to be playing.
So you think that a lot of their players are going to be heading and staying home so they don't get injured for the NFL draft?
That's what I believe. I don't believe Bryce Young's playing. I don't believe Will Anderson's playing. I don't believe half their players will play because they don't have anything to play for. So Nick Saban lobbied for them to play, but I don't think they're playing. So time will tell. But I said it was funny just him out there campaigning for his team to get in.
He was campaigning hard. Yeah, he's done that in the past before, where they didn't know if they were going to get in and campaign and got in. But 2 losses are different than 1. If they'd have made that field goal against Tennessee, they'd be in there probably.
They play Kansas State in the Sugar Bowl, so it'll be a good ball game. Kansas State just won the game over TCU. So I said, Utah, Penn State in the Rose Bowl, USC, Tulane in the Cotton Bowl, LSU, Purdue in the Citrus Bowl, the Orange Bowl.
Okay.
So all these big bowl games. So
all the bowl games all set.
Tennessee, Clemson, the Orange Bowl. That'll be a good ball game.
So you got Tennessee that's orange, you got Clemson that's orange in the Orange Bowl. Lots of orange down there.
Some good bowl games.
Yep, a lot of good bowl games. And just exciting season this year for college football. And, of course, Bob, we were happy as I don't know why because Georgia won the SEC championship. First time since 2017. Number 1 going into the playoffs. And just still running on those all 8 cylinders. You didn't know how they were going to be this year after losing so many defensive players to the NFL last year. But still going strong.
Hard to believe it's been 2017 since they won the SEC championship. But after you win a national championship, you kind of forget that kind of stuff. But they wanted that one pretty bad.
Yeah, they did. They did and played good. So congratulations to them. You said you've got meetings coming up this week here in Wayne County and Jesup?
County meets today at 6. City meets tomorrow at 7. So 2 board meetings tonight and tomorrow.
So county tonight, city of Jesup tomorrow. Anything earth-shattering on the agenda there?
Litigation executive session.
Litigation. Which one? County tonight?
County tonight.
Any idea what that's about?
I have no idea.
Bob doesn't know something? I thought your inside sources would have done told you what's happening.
I have no idea what
No idea, Bob. Man, jeez.
Don't have a clue.
Well, when you are a commissioner like that, you do have to respect your oath to the office and be quiet on certain things when it comes to stuff like that. Or you get yourself in trouble.
It's nice. The last meeting, like some long-time commissioners, Herschel Hart's been on there for a while.
Yep.
And Mike Roberts been on there for quite some time. So this will be their last meeting.
Their last meetings. They've served Wayne County for a long time, and we thank them for doing that. It's a thankless job.
It definitely is.
I wouldn't want it. I know you don't. It is a thankless job, and we thank Herschel and Mike for serving Wayne County and the citizens of their district and all of Wayne County for so long. And then we'll have one returning longtime commissioner. Of course, that's James Boot Thomas. And then you got new ones coming on. Is that correct?
Kevin McCurry returns.
Yeah, Kevin. He's been there for a while, but not as long as some of those other ones. And so Kevin returns. And but we had long serving county commissioners, and then of course you got Kevin coming back, and then the three new ones. And so we wish them all the best after the beginning of the year as they tackle problems here in Wayne County. But this board, this commission, will wrap up their business tonight, I guess, unless they call a special meeting sometime the rest of the month. But usually that doesn't happen in December, does it?
Not during the holidays.
Yeah, not during the holidays. And then the city of Jesup meets tomorrow night, and then I guess that may be their last get-together for the year. We'll see. All right, what else is going on, Bob? Anything else you're keeping an eye on?
Not really.
Not really?
Got to get busy with the Christmas shopping. I said Christmas is here. So.
Okay.
Election tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing how that turns out.
Yeah, big election tomorrow here in Georgia.
Everybody says it's about as close as can be. Governor Chris Christie had the best line of the weekend. Said that Governor Kemp might be the only human being to ever drag Herschel across a goal line. So
those were very good TV ads that Brian Kemp did for Herschel Walker. I mean, they're extremely good ads.
Hopefully that'll be the difference, but only time will tell tomorrow night.
Okay.
A lot of people have voted already. 1.5 million voters already in the state of Georgia. 4,355, I think, is the official
a lot of
number.
folks have already early voted here in the state of Georgia. And then you got election day. That's when I'll vote. I'm an election day voter myself, so I'll go vote tomorrow.
4,375 is the total Wayne County early voting. They had 976 on Friday, so 4,375 of the 17,000 registered voters have voted already.
So 900 folks voted on Friday, huh? Wow. 900 something. All right, Bob, anything else in your mind this morning before we wrap up the show?
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs. All right, the world famous Butch and Bob show right here on WIFO, 105.5 FM in Jesup, brought to you by First Southern Bank, Van's Barbecue, Murphy Builder Supply, and O'Quinn & Associates.